Sometimes people ask me, what is the one game that you would bring with you on a desert island? It's a very hard question to answer for me, also because I don't know what people obsession with desert islands is, but Palm Island may be a good option, if nothing else, because if I shipwreck on that island, the game will still be playable. The game comes in this nice waterproof container. You could bring it with you while you're scuba diving. Probably you shouldn't play it while you're scuba diving because the fish would just think you're weird. But I guess you could. Palm Island also is a solitaire game, so I could play it on the desert island. However, it is an island that is not desert. It is an island where there's a population, and you'll control that population. And you'll try to guide it through several stages of their development. It is a civilization game in that sense. It is also a handheld game. That is, the basic game is simply made of 17 cards, and the state of the game is entirely recorded in the position and orientation of the deck of cards in your hand. Pretty neat idea. But as you can see here, there are a lot more cards than that, because what you find here in the full set is, well, the instructions, then you have the basic game, then you have another copy of the basic game, so two players can play solitaire at the same time, then you have other cards for other modes of play or for other ways of playing the game, other expansions. For example, you have these special cards that you can add to your solitaire game when you earn them. If you play a solitaire game and you complete certain tasks, then you can add those cards, which are upgrades to your solitaire deck. So actually there is even a little bit of a campaign element there, as your deck may grow through time. Also, there are cards that allow you to play cooperative or competitive. It is still very similar to the solitaire game. Basically, in these two modes, you are playing your solitaire game while the other player is playing their solitaire game with their deck. And then at the end of a round, you take cooperative or competitive actions. But in any case, the game in all these versions is still, again, just a different version of the solitaire game. So we're gonna talk about the solitaire game. About the production, it looks really nice. These cards are nice, clear, nice design. They look good. They're easy to read, but they are plasticky. They're glossy, which on one hand is very nice. On the other hand, it has happened to me that because they're a little bit slippery, I've dropped the deck, which is just disastrous in this game, since again it is the position and orientation of the cards that makes the game, that defines the game. So I wish they had been a little less pretty and less slippery and a little harder to handle, so they wouldn't slide around too much. Anyways, the cards are numbered with numbers between 1 and 17, and the 17 card is the round tracker, and you shuffle them at the beginning of the game, making sure that the number of the card stays in the top left corner, because each card has 4 orientation, and the one that is on the side facing you and on top of it is the active one. So right now this card only has this area that is active. It also has this other playable area, and this one, but again, only this one is active right now. If I flip the card, now this is the active area. If I turn it upside down, this is the active area. So you shuffle all of the cards together without changing the orientation, and I may have mistakenly changed the orientation already. Now, when it is your turn, and then you put this one at the end of the deck, the game lasts 8 rounds, so at the end of the first round, you simply turn it to the second when you go through the deck, and then to the third, the fourth, and then you go back and you look at the small numbers, and now it's the 5th, the 6th, until the 8th. So when the game starts, you will take actions. You can interact with the first 2 cards of the deck only, and you can take the actions indicated by these icons. The icon indicates the action, and then next to the icon is the cost. For example, this action here is free. This other action and this actions requires the expenditure of a fish. This action is storing a resource. Especially at the beginning of the game, you will do that for free because you don't have any resources, so you have to start from somewhere. When you store a resource, you take it from the deck, and you turn it by 90 degrees this way at the end of the deck. Other actions will cost resources, and to spend a resource, you simply turn it by 90 degrees and you put it back in the deck, basically, without changing its position in the deck. This action means that when you spend the corresponding amount of resources, you get to turn the card upside down. For example, now I started my quarry. Here, this card didn't give me anything. Now, after I spent 2 wood, it will give me a stone if I take the action of storing it, and that is for free. This other icon here, in this case, to activate that action, I will need 2 fish, means to flip the card to the other side without changing the orientation. And again, hooray, I have a quarry. So just different ways of getting to this quarry. But other cards will work differently. So, for example, here I decide to save this logger. The trade house, well, I cannot do anything with it right now. The temple, I cannot do anything. Remember, I could interact with either of these cards. Also, an action you can do is to discard a card, which simply means you put it in the back of the deck. Still nothing I can do. This is a bad combination of things. And here I could trade my fish or my log for a stone. I decide to do so just because it feels right. Then I store this other card here, and I store this other card here. You can store up to 4 cards. Then I go back here. Is there anything I could do? I could now trade these 2 logs to store pretty much a log and a fish. Or I could spend my fish to make the trade house instead of 1 fish and 1 log. I'll do that. I'll spend the fish to turn this one. Also, when you upgrade a card like that, it goes at the back, in the back of your deck, so it'll become available later. And this is how the deck works, really. I'm gonna store this one, quarry. Ooh, let's activate the quarry. We turn these 2 cards like this. The quarry is now active and goes like this. What am I trying to do? Simple and kind. I'm trying to build an engine of resources that will allow me then to build the big stuff, again, by turning it upside down or flipping it. Because you can see there are certain cards that have certain orientations will give me points. This card will be worth 1 victory point. If I flip it by spending these resources, now it's worth 3. If I turn it upside down by spending these resources, now it is worth 6. Basically, housing and temples are the big money makers, not exactly point makers. 3, 6, 10. And there are also some of these professions that will give you points when you upgrade them. For example, the logger, if I upgrade it. And even after I upgrade the logger, maybe spend resources, turn it to this other side, it's still pretty much doing the same job, a little bit better, but also giving me points. And then if I turn it upside down, I see this as the logger retires because now it doesn't do anything anymore. It is worth 5 points. And of course, you will want to do this only late in the game because this card is now perfectly useless. So this is the game. Basically, you play through 8 turns and then you count victory points, and based on how many you scored, you see how well you did. And it's just tough. It is tough to, and I want to find, and I can't find where the table for the scoring is. So here we go. There you go. And trust me, it took me, I don't know, 5, 6 times to get to 30 points. I was exceptional, yeah, but barely exceptional. So, interesting challenge. I like it. I like the solo game. It is so simple, it is admirable even what you can do with simply 17 cards. In a sense, the sense that are turned into 4 times as many cards. But the engine that you have, the branching trees of options, make for a very fast, very interesting civilization slash Euro game. It's an investment game. I'm buying stuff to buy more stuff that will give me more stuff that will give me more stuff, but you are going against time, and of course, again, the time keeps ticking. Every time you take an action, you are reducing the time that you have available, and you have that sense, oh my gosh, it's already fourth turn and I've just been able to activate a quarry and do something, not much else. And there are moments in which it gets a little frustrating because maybe you have a sequence of temples and housings, one after the other, you don't have the resources, and those cards don't give you anything. So you're forced to discard them, and then you're thinking, okay, I'll prepare for next round. And then you save those resources, and you see something cool that you could do, you do it, and then you're like, oh no, the temple and housing sequence again. I forgot to save the resources next time. And of course, I think you know where I'm going with this. At the end of the day, turn is like, how could I not do this? Very fun, very simple. Definitely one of the most portable games that I own. It'd be even more portable if the cards didn't feel a little bit slippery. Then I would feel comfortable playing it like really anywhere. Here, if I play it on an airplane, the fear that I'm just holding it too tight and the cards fly out, well, that fear will prevent me from playing it in places, I don't know, maybe like an airplane, for example. Still, very fun, very simple, very addictive. Trust me, the first time I played, I was like, oh, let's try this game. Let's give it a spin. I thought, a spin. And then 2 hours later, I was there, one more game, come on, I can do a little bit better. And of course you don't, and then you do the same, you have the same score, a little bit less, a little bit more, which is exactly what makes a game addictive, when you feel that you could do a little bit better, but you don't. You're so close to you believe you're so close to figuring it all out. Is there a way of solving it? Maybe there are some of you that will be able to write an algorithm, and then your computer will be playing the game, and you will have, well, bravo, you will have deprived yourself of the joy of playing the game. Because as is, I don't know if there is a way of solving it, but I haven't figured it out. And with the random shuffling of the cards, you really have different setups, and you have different sets of problems. In some cases, I do manage to build a temple. In some cases, I send a lot of people into retirement and I don't build much, and I still score a decent, respectable amount of points. The game can go in a number of directions that I would not have expected when you have just 17 cards. Then also remember, there are also those other modes of play. Even the basic deck will evolve as you earn these feature cards, which I'm not showing you. I just want to preserve the mystery. But as you earn these special treasures that you can add to your deck, and they will do different things, even your basic deck, even your solo deck will change. Plus, again, those are the modes for cooperative or competitive. Most cooperative or competitive versions modes, they will not feel very different from the solitaire, because, well, it is a solitaire game plus the addition of something. But a solitaire game is perfectly respectable. It's a perfectly fun game per se. Palm Island may not be the most, the deepest game out there, but it's one that's definitely captivating, definitely addictive. And hey, if you shipwreck, it may be the one game that will actually make it with you on the desert island. So, Palm Island, nice production, maybe a little too good material-wise. Materially-wise, but overall a really fun little design for those who like solitaire games. And remember, this is basically a solitaire game. Even the multiplayer still very close to a solitaire game. So there is that. Not everybody is into solitaire games, but if you like the style of games, well, I think Palm Island is a pretty strong option.